Good morning children, how are you all? I hope you all are fine and safe at your places. Myself, Ms. Survi Sharma from Shivjyoti Educational Group, Kota. So children, as you all know, we have already done with the syllabus. Today, we are going to start with the revision of history chapter number 5 and chapter number 7. Okay, let's start with the revision. So let's start with the chapter number 5, rulers and buildings. Okay, as you all know, we have already done with this chapter, live classes, video lecture, everything. Okay, so let's discuss it briefly. Okay, first is engineering skills and constructions. Okay, see what we have studied in this chapter, rulers and buildings. See, before this chapter we studied about Delhi Sultans, then the Mughal Emperor, okay, the Mughal Empire, okay, and we studied how these empires grew up and fell down, okay. But see, when these rulers were ruling, okay, when the Delhi Sultans were there, then Mughal rulers came, okay, so whenever they were ruling, they used to construct something, okay, they used to build something. Why they used to build something? To show their power, okay, and it was there in their mind that even if their rule got failed, okay, even if after some time might be they get defeated, but even after they will be defeated, they will be remembered by the people. How? Through the buildings, okay, through the structures, okay, whatever they have built, okay. Like for example, I can give you an example of Qutub Minar. Qutub Minar was constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak, okay, but only first floor was constructed by Qutbuddin Aibak, okay. Rest of the construction of Qutub Minar was done by Iltutmish, okay. So when Qutbuddin Aibak's rule was there, okay, when he was the ruler, he started constructing Qutub Minar, okay, but only till first floor he was able to build. Then Iltutmish came as a ruler and he completed that construction, okay, construction of Qutub Minar. So till now, okay, still what we know, who has constructed Qutub Minar? Qutbuddin Aibak and Sultan Iltutmish, okay. So now you come to know that why they used to build these buildings, okay, why they used to construct such kind of structures, okay, so that even when they are not in a rule, when they got defeated or when they died, people should remember them, okay, that once upon a time they were there as a ruler. Okay, so let's start with the chapter engineering skills and construction. Now under engineering skills and construction, we read about two parts, okay, two structures we have read about. First one was Trebbeat or Corbelled, okay, Trebbeat or Corbelled structure. What was there in Trebbeat or Corbelled structure? See, these two pillars were there, and on this pillar horizontal beam, okay, horizontal slab was being placed, okay. This is how this structure used to be constructed, okay. If you remember, it's there in your book, the picture has been given to you in your book, okay. So such kind of structures was known as Trebbeat or Corbelled, okay. In this structure, such wooden slabs were kept on these pillars, okay. Such kind of structure was there under Trebbeat and Corbelled, okay. And next one was arcuate. What was there in arcuate structure? See, again pillars was there, and on this pillar they have took out some new innovation, new technology and new type of construction, okay, new way of construction. Under this they used to make such arc, okay. See, diagram is not that much proper, but it is like this only, okay, and the middle one stone, okay. Now you can see how this arc is forming, in this there was no arc, okay, they have just placed this wooden slab, okay. such kind of shape it was taking. But in arcuate, such stones, triangular, and according to the space they used to cut down the stone and they used to place over these pillars, and you can see how this is taking shape of arc. That's why it was known as arcuate structure. And the middle stone, okay, this middle stone was known as keystone. Okay, this middle stone was known as keystone. Why? Because this no balance, no support was having. Okay, this middle stone was having no support. Okay, that's why it came to be known as keystone, the main stone. Okay, so this middle stone came to be known as keystone. Okay, so what we read in engineering skills and construction, Rabbit and Corbel style of architecture and arcuate. Okay, now next is building temples, mosques and tanks. Okay, building temples, mosques and tanks. Okay, now first if we take building temples, see, you might remember that I told you that how kings used to build their temples. They used to construct large temples, okay, and they used to construct it in a way like their kingdom, okay, like the temple was there, and inside the temple the biggest statue, okay, the statue of God, okay, the biggest statue of God was the one which was being worshipped by the ruler, okay, and small statues were there of those god which was being worshipped by the subordinates. Okay, see, in a kingdom ruler was there, king was there, and under that king, under that ruler, his subordinates were there. Okay, those who were working for him, those who were there, those who were under him. He was the powerful one, king was the powerful one, and then subordinates were there who were working on his behalf, like who was working for him. Okay, they were having no power. The main power was there with the king, the ruler. Okay, in the same way, when temples were constructed, the biggest statue of God was of that god which was being worshipped by the king. Okay, the large statue, the biggest statue was of the god which was being worshipped by the king, and small statues, okay, and small statues was of those god which was being worshipped by the subordinates. Okay, the gods whom subordinates were worshipping, उनके छोटे से statues होते थे, and this symbolizes that how the kingdom was managed. Okay, that temple which was built, which was constructed by the king, was a miniature model of the world which was ruled by him. Okay, miniature model of the kingdom which was ruled by the king. Okay, so temples. Okay, now under this temple, what rulers expected people? Okay, rulers expect people to worship them as God. Okay, what rulers expected? Rulers expected people to worship them as God. Okay, to treat them as God, that the way they are worshipping their God, okay, the way king is worshipping his God, in the same way subordinate should worship the ruler. Okay, this was being expected by the rulers. Okay, that's why they used to build temples to show their power, to show their wealth, and to make people understand that to treat the king as a god. Okay, the people, the subordinates under his kingdom, who are living in his kingdom, should treat the ruler as a god. Okay, so that's why they used to build temples, and temples were known as the miniature model of the world ruled by the king. Okay, I hope you all remember these things. We have already discussed all these things in the video lecture. Okay, then mosques were there. Okay, now mosques were there. Under this, okay, now sultans were there. Okay, sultans, padshahs were there, like rulers were there, and in the Muslim kingdoms, like the kingdoms which were managed by the Muslim rulers, in those kingdoms the head was the sultans. Okay, Muslim sultans or padshahs. Now what they used to say? They used to say, don't consider us as God. ठीक है, we are not God. Okay, we are normal human beings like you, so don't treat us like God. Okay, we can guide you, we can show you the right path, but we are not God. But what people used to say, people used to say that you are the incarnation of God, you are the shadow of the God, and we will treat you like the God. ठीक है, so you can see the difference. In temples the rulers were forcing them to treat them as a god. ठीक है, and in mosque they were saying please don't treat us like a god, we are not God. Okay, then tanks were there. ठीक है, now tanks, if we talk about tanks in those period, and even in today's time, water, holy water is considered as the purest one. Okay, if you have visited gurudwaras and all, okay, they are having those water tanks. Okay, so in those time also it was considered very good and was considered very blissful to have, to construct that water reservoir or to have that water reservoir. Okay, so rulers used to build those water reservoirs, and that's why tanks were constructed by the rulers. ठीक है, the biggest tank was constructed by Sultan Iltutmish. ठीक है, who built the biggest water reservoir? Sultan Iltutmish, and he won universal respect for constructing that water reservoir. Okay, so building temples, mosques and tanks. Now why were temples targeted? Now why were temples targeted? See, temples were targeted. Why were temples? Temples were targeted because kings used to put all of their wealth in those temples. ठीक है, first kings used to put their wealth in those temples. ठीक है, so the temples were the wealthiest one. ठीक है, large temples were constructed and kings used to put all of their wealth in those temples. Why? To show their power, to show their wealth, whatever, they were constructing the temples. But whenever they want to attack on each other, ठीक है, or on their enemies, where they used to attack? They used to attack on those temples only. Why? Because somewhere they knew that kings have invested all of their wealth, all of their precious things, precious statues in those temples. So that's why temples were always targeted. Okay, this we have read, and under this what we have read, that Rajendra I, ठीक है, Chola ruler Rajendra I, ठीक है, Chola ruler Rajendra I, he built Shiva temple. Okay, he built Shiva temple, and in that Shiva temple he filled it with those prize statues which he captured from other kingdoms. Okay, which he captured by defeating the other rulers. Okay, he defeated them, he looted their wealth, their statues and all, and he constructed temple and put all of their statues and all of their wealth into his temple. Okay, so that is the only reason why temples were targeted. Okay, now next, last, garden, tombs and forts. Now see, in those time the rulers who were there, ठीक है, Akbar and Babur, ठीक है, Shahjahan, Jahangir, they all were there. Okay, so they all were interested, they all were having interest in some of the other field. Okay, if we talk about Shahjahan, Jahangir, okay, they have put it their interest, they were having interest in the art and architecture, literature. Okay, but if we talk about Babur was having interest in the in building, in constructing gardens. Okay, so gardens, Babur was interested in constructing large gardens. Now how he used to construct gardens? ठीक है, he built Char Bagh. ठीक है, now what was Char Bagh? See, square garden was there that was being divided into 4 parts. Now how this garden was divided? By water channels. These are the artificial water channels. This is also the artificial water channel. Okay, and here all whatever he wants to plant or whatever look he wants to give, ठीक है, he used to place those plants and all here, and between this, ठीक है, these water channels divided the garden into 4 parts. This was Char Bagh. Then tomb. Okay, you must have heard about Humayun's tomb. Okay, now tomb, see, tomb is a part of Muslim architecture. ठीक है, tomb is a part of Muslim architecture. Now further innovations came, further they put their ideas, like Babur invented the idea of Char Bagh. Then some other ruler Humayun came and he add on his idea. He add on his idea. What he did in this Char Bagh, between this part, like at the center of the garden, he built tomb. Okay, so he innovated it, he put his ideas, okay, he put his creativity and innovate and took out new innovation. Okay, then forts. Okay, then forts came. Now see, in forts what was there? The walls of the forts were, okay, the walls of the forts were having colored heart stones. Okay, now how they used to put those colored heart stones? They constructed that fort, and in the walls of those forts they used to carve out a part, and in those carving they used to put the colored heart stones, and that was known as Petra Dura, if you remember. Okay, we have read about Petra Dura now. Okay, so what was that Petra Dura? Putting those colored heart stones into that carvings, and whatever shape, whatever design they want to make with those colored heart stones. Okay, so this structure also got very famous in those times. Okay, so children, I hope you all got all the points. Engineering skills and construction, then building temples, mosques and tanks, why were temples targeted, and gardens, tombs and forts. Okay, please see the video lecture also. Now let's discuss the question and answers. So first we are starting with the internal questions. First internal question, chapter 5. Qutub Minar was constructed by which ruler? Page number 60. Okay, Qutubuddin Aibak and Iltutmish. Then question number 2, who looted the Somnath temple? Sultan Mahmud of Ghazni. Why they used to loot the temple? To take their wealth and put that wealth into their own temples. Question number 3, which ruler won universal respect for constructing a large reservoir just outside Delhi, Kunha? Just now I have told you in the explanation part, Sultan Iltutmish. Okay. Now starting with the copy work. First is very short answer type questions. What is Shikhara? A Shikhara is the topmost pointed portion of a temple. Then question number 2, what is Petra Dura? Okay, I have explained you about Petra Dura. Okay, those colored heart stones which were put into the carvings. Petra Dura refers to colored heart stones placed in depressions carved into marble or sandstone, creating beautiful ornate patterns. Okay, whatever design, whatever pattern they want to put, okay, according to that pattern they used to do the carving, and in those carving they used to put the colorful heart stones. Question number 3, what are the elements of a Mughal Char Bagh garden? Yes, Char Bagh, do you remember? Char Bagh, that was being divided into 4 equal parts by the artificial river channels, water channels. Mughal Char Bagh consists of 4 gardens. These gardens are placed within rectangular walled enclosures and divided into 4 quarters by artificial channels. Okay, I have explained you with the help of diagram also. Okay. Now, question number 4. How is the Trebit principle of architecture different from the arcuate? Okay, in Trebit, what was the other name of Trebit architecture? Corbelled, Trebit or Corbelled. In that, pillars were there and wooden slabs. Okay, horizontal wooden slabs are being placed. And in arcuate, okay, they have given the shape of ark. Okay, they have cut it down the stone in that shape only and placed it, okay, and the shape of the ark. In Prebid principle of architecture, roofs, doors and windows were made by placing a horizontal beam across two vertical columns. In Arcuate principle of architecture, the weight of the superstructure above the doors and windows was carried by arcs. Okay, arcs. So this is how Prebid and Arcuate structure was different. Now question number 5. What role did the Yamuna play in the layout of the new Mughal city at Shahjahanabad? The Yamuna river played a significant role. The imperial palace commanded the river front. Only specially favored nobles like Shah Jahan's eldest son Dara Shikoh were given access to the river. Okay, only the nobles were given permission to reach there. All others had to construct their homes in the city away from the river Yamuna. Okay, so you can see imperial palace which was built, it was built again in a very creative way. Okay, it was built so that it faces the river Yamuna. Okay, now long answer type questions. Question number 6. How did a temple communicate the importance of a king? Yes, how temples were responsible for communicating the importance of a king? Name of the temples and the name of the king were almost similar. Raja Rajadeva, a king; Raja Rajeshwara, a temple. See, I have explained you this in the video lecture. This king Raja Rajadeva, earlier his name was not Raja Rajadeva, his name was something else, but he changed his name to Raja Rajadeva so that Raja Rajeshwara temple and Raja Rajeshwaram god, okay, the god was Raja Rajeshwaram, okay, king Raja Rajadeva and Raja Rajeshwara temple, so that people can link him to the temple and to the god. Like he just wanted to show that how his name is similar to that of the god. Okay, lesser deities were gods and goddesses of the allies and subordinates of the ruler. Temple was the miniature model of the world ruled by the king and his allies. As they worshipped their deities together, it seemed as if they brought the rule of God on earth. Okay children, so I have explained you how kings used to place the largest statue of that god to whom they worship, and smaller statues of those gods to whom his subordinates worship. He just wanted to show that how he is managing his empire. So that is why it is said that temple was the miniature model of the world ruled by the king. Now question number 7. How did the Mughal court suggest that everyone, the rich and the poor, the powerful and the weak, receive justice equally from the emperor? The Diwan-e-Am of the Mughal court suggested that justice was made for all in an equal way. Okay, no rich and poor discrimination will be there, low and upper caste, such kind of discrimination will not be there in my empire. Okay, Mughal said this. The construction of Shah Jahan's audience hall aimed to communicate that the king's justice would treat the high and the low as equals, creating a world where all could live together in harmony. Okay, so the construction of Shah Jahan's audience hall, main purpose, main aim, what was the main aim of constructing this audience hall? So that to communicate that the king's justice would treat the high and the low as equal. Okay, to tell the people that everyone in my community, in my empire will be equal. They all have to sit together, okay, in that community hall and listen to the king. So he just wanted to create harmony in his empire so that everyone could live in harmony. Okay children, so children, I hope you all understood each and everything very carefully. Okay, go through the chapters once again.